To kick this off, I'm going to start with a few knowns. People generally respond to positive messages that evoke awe, excitement, or amusement. On the flip side, people will also respond to negative messages that stimulate anger or anxiety. That puts me in a tough place. I'm either going to 1. Get you excited about the prospects that creativity can bring to your business and perhaps get a little awe from you, or 2. Get you angry at what is affecting your business and anxious about the conditions that produce your next opportunity. I don't see that there's much middle ground, so I might as well get the tough stuff out first and end on a high note. The first known borders on speculation, but it also has solid footing for the asking. When coronavirus response crisis of 2021 is over, somebody will have to pay for the damage done, rebuild economies, and affirm public confidence. By somebody, I mean that figuratively, not a single person. A worst case scenario for the economy is an accelerated economic recession that leads to a full blown depression. That's worst case scenario. For humankind, it wouldn't be the first time we weathered a recession and depression. Economic instability does have an eventual reset, and we do survive. In fact, we have a long history of breaking things, fixing things, and breaking them again, and fixing them, and breaking them. With the general crisis of 1640, the world saw the collapse of 276-year-old Ming Dynasty, a civil war in Britain, and years of devastation from decades-long series of wars on the continent. This was not a good time to be an average Joe or Jane. Before there was a Great Depression, there were two other Great Depressions. One occurred in 1837 in the United States. This Great Depression was worse than that of the 1930s. The reset was the discovery of gold in California. In that same year, speculations in the land market blew up and propelled the nation into a 5-year depression. This also produced a massive migration of people. From 1873 to 1896, Britain and the United States entered into a period of economic depression called the Long Depression. Don't think that the impact was isolated to Britain and the United States. Consequences were felt around the world. The Great Depression of 1930 created widespread poverty. Few nations escaped unscathed. The economic ramifications set the stage for the Second World War. For those who only think of depressions as historical, we have our own memories of financial crises. Greece plunged into depression in 2009 following a severe recession that led to widespread and deep austerity measures. And, while not a depression, the Great Recession of 2008 exposed our vulnerabilities and perhaps raised a warning flag of what may come. This series is about creativity and business. Creativity can thrive under adversity and even austerity. Economic challenges and hardships are a testbed for innovation across every aspect of the business landscape. We may not like it. We certainly don't want it. Inviting trouble to check a company's endurance level or pain, if that be the case, doesn't go well with its stakeholders. There is no chapter in How to Win Friends and Influence People entitled Gain Credibility by Making Life Hard. To create a thing, anything, you need a starting point. Knowing what you have to begin with is essential for that creation to be realized. What is immediately available? What do I need to acquire? How will I get what I need? So many issues can muddle a creative effort. Looking toward answering all those questions you may have, you want to reduce uncertainty. How do you do that? Well, focus on those things that you know to be certain. What do you know with 100% certainty? Most of the time, when we consider something as certain, there are conditions attached to that certainty. We know that in everyday life on Earth, that if you drop an object, it falls down. If that object is fragile and it strikes against a hard surface, it will break. We know that a wooden boat floating on water will eventually sink if it has a leak that lets water into the boat. We know that 1 plus 1 equals 2 and 1 minus 1 equals 1. We also know that if we change the condition in any of these scenarios, the outcome may change. Enclose the fragile object in layers of bubble wrap, and you reduce the chance of breakage. Plug the hole in the boat to slow or stop sinking. Change the object of the numeric symbol of 1, and you have the potential for some mind-bending alternative realities. Conditions establish a framework for us to relate, work, and achieve. I can't think of a business situation that doesn't have a set of conditions associated with performance. We use metrics to measure how we are performing against the set of conditions. Business-minded people appreciate conditions along with their boundaries and systems. Conditions empower decision makers to plan based on quantifiable or historic performances. Not to oversimplify, but this is how we manage to live every day. Our point of reference will always be from a position of what is known. Should something unfamiliar pop up on our radar, the known will be our reference and we work from there. What do you do when known conditions for your business are disrupted? What if that disruption brings along with it uncertainty, indecisiveness by policymakers, and severe shifts to external conditions? Well, that is when you're going to have to be and get creative. Forgive me for stating the obvious, but I guess that your planning probably didn't include a global pandemic, let alone the swath of consequences that unfolded in its wake. Your SWOT analysis and resilience plan most likely have categories relative to economic vulnerability. If global economic and social trauma were included in your assessment, it may have been ascribed a very low risk factor in terms of probability. Mostly, we didn't see it coming. While we can't plan for every scenario, we can build our businesses to weather most storms. We need to take a hard look at our resources and the conditions we know to be navigable. Anything on top of that can add value to your sustainability capital. Where is your business in this crisis? What impact has it had on your finances, people, clients or customers, or your operations? You will prioritize those categories based on your organizational values. As the decision maker, you must know the status of each of these main categories. What is the now status? With a quality reporting system in place, you can quickly observe the health of your company. If that doesn't exist, that is, the quality reporting system, that should be your priority. Cover those blind spots. If you are in a support role to a decision maker, it is your responsibility to ensure that the decision maker has accurate data. Maintaining a positive message in crisis means that you address the real issues and create genuine solutions. Wishful thinking and softened reporting does not serve the best interests of the organization. Be tough. There are many organizational styles employed around the world. The style I just mentioned is typical of a hierarchical system of management. Organizations with a hierarchical system have multiple layers of management. By and large, layers are not known for speed in terms of decisions or implementing change. For the most part, that is for good reasons. You should be aware of the conditions of effective communication and the obstacles that may slow responsiveness. Whether a multinational organization, an SME, or a sole operator, it is vital that you have a clear grasp on your finances, people, clients or customers, and your operations. Let's shift to consider what all this means. especially as it relates to creativity and your business. You are going to continue to face a wide range of challenges, even when we unstick ourselves from the mire of the pandemic. There is going to be a monumental recovery phase. In the process, there will be further challenges. I think it is safe to say these are certainties. If you are in an industry hit hard from the beginning, you may be running out of ideas and money. But there will be an end to the crisis, that is certain. As you hunker down to assess and plan your next move, you will need to get creative. Creative in the way you engage your people, creative in your staffing, creative in the ways you strategize your return to a post-COVID environment, creative in your products and services, creative in your communications, marketing and promotion, creative in what and how you deliver your product. Let me ask you, what do you want to create? You have the opportunity, a very rare opportunity I will add, to create something different. Look, I don't know your situation or the conditions that piqued your interest to explore creativity. You could be among the tens of thousands struggling to make ends meet as you watch your business dream crumble before you. You may be a decision maker trying to work out how to keep your staff employed, delivering services, and keeping everybody safe in the process. You may be among that fortunate set that prospered during the pandemic. Post-pandemic scaling and public relations may be your challenge. Regardless of your company or personal situation, you want to get through this thing. If at all possible, hold on to your success onto the other side. What does that look like? You may not believe this when I tell you, but you have the greatest resource on the planet. That resource is the capacity for creative thinking. If you are an employer, you have access to a staff of people with limitless creative potential. You are missing out if you are not tapping into that resources. That we are creatives is a known. Perhaps more than anything else about human nature, this fact is true. What will you do with it? For the corporate or SME-sized business, in addition to the hard questions that measure your management resources, expand your scope to include the creative. How do you express your creativity? I'm not talking about just the arts. I mean any form or expression of creativity. How do you encourage creativity of your staff? Do you have a formal policy that allows staff to explore their creativity on the job? What platforms do you have for creative expression to be shared? Creative thinking is applied across an entire organization, no matter the size. Where can it be expressed in safety with the potential for reward? Do you have an organization that values creativity? People create. That trait is not confined to those who work in product design or marketing. Every person in your building or looking at you from a framed space on a monitor is a creative. Does your organization see that? Imagine an entire staff dealing with conditions respective to their role, but empowered to seek creative solutions to those conditions. The return in people satisfaction may be matched by improved production and innovation. For the small business owner or the staff of one, being creative in this pandemic is your lifeline. You have survived this thing so far. So what's next for you? You probably have far more flexibility with the question of what do I create than a larger company. Nobody has a crystal ball that can tell you what comes next. Everybody is speculating. Some just happen to be in a better position to leverage the moment. But one thing we all have, that is a capacity to create, innovate, to make something new or different. Let that be your new known. Start from there.